This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Thursday, February 12th, 2026, and we're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I will be joined by Ethan Robson of agmarket.net to discuss an interesting day of trade in the ag marketplace, especially on the grain side. But first, I am joined by the president and CEO of the Ag Retailers Association. His name is Daren Coppock. He joined me at the recent Agribusiness Association of Iowa showcase, which was in Altoona. Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Daren Coppock. He is the president and CEO of the Ag Retailers Association. And Daren here today at the Agribusiness Association of Iowa showcase. Daren, first of all, could you tell us, please, why it was important for you to be here today and getting the message out to all of Iowa's farmers?
Well, I love being out with the membership. I was raised on a farm, and so these are my people. But it's great to have an invitation from the Iowa folks to come out and share some thoughts with them. More importantly, to hear what's on their minds, because that really helps us do the job that we do in Washington.
So talking about that, hearing what's on their minds, what do you think right now is the biggest challenge for ag when you're talking with producers and they're bringing you their thoughts?
So as I hear from our members, one of the things that's perennially on top of their minds is labor. They can't ever find enough of it that's qualified and able to work, especially in some of these more rural, remote communities. But this year, it's farm gate economics. People are concerned about what's the financial health of that grower, how much can I offer in terms of trade credit to help them finance the purchases that they're making. And, you know, the retailer depends totally on the farmer. If the farmer's not doing well, the retailer doesn't do well either.
So, Daren, you started talking about labor, and that situation we know takes time through legislation and trying to get everybody to understand the importance of where we are with needing that labor right now and needing those workers in these remote areas. Do you think we're making progress right now, or is it just that we have to continue with that slow, steady drip because it does take time?
It's a little of both. I think we're going to see some relief from multiple areas. One of those is that as equipment gets bigger and we automate more things, it takes fewer people to do the jobs that it used to take more to do. I think we'll see more of that, some of it from AI, but some of it just from automation that we're already on course to do. Otherwise, we're trying to help out with a program that we launched a year ago in January that we call Labor Link. And it helps our members that are trying to find H-2A seasonal labor to be able to access it with fewer administrative headaches than are normally associated with that program.
And then you also talked about just farm finances in general and the overall farm picture. Of course, right now with with prices for commodities being depressed right now, it's creating a lot of issues for farmers, but we know that that's something that comes and goes in cycles. So what is the main message right now to farmers who are going through tough economic times to try and find a way back towards profitability?
Farmers are going to need some expert help to identify what kinds of products that they want to be able to use on their farm. Everything from seed genetics all the way up to pesticides or biological products or whatever else. And they don't have time to sort through all of the thousands of products that might be out there, especially in the biological space. And so I think the retailer's expertise is going to be really important to help them squeeze every bit of productivity they can out of the inputs that they do buy.
And with farmers, we know that they use their retail partners oftentimes almost hand in glove, working together because they get so much advice, so much benefit from those relationships. And for you in your position, then, what is it like making sure that those relationships between farmers and retailers are on the same page and everybody's pulling in the same direction?
I view them as strategic partnerships. These aren't just transactional relationships. They're things that have lasted for years, if not generations, where retailers and the farm family work together on things of mutual interest. And so it's important to maintain and strengthen those. And as we look at some things like in the regenerative agriculture space is one example, we're working with Nature Conservancy on how do we get practices that are regen on more acres, things like cover crops. And they really view the ag retailer and the retail agronomist as the pathway to get to the grower because it's a trusted relationship that already exists.
It's a trusted relationship, and it's obvious that the retailer wants the farmer to continue to come to them for business, and so they're also going to try and provide that advice and that help along the way, I would imagine. Daren, where are some opportunities then right now? We talked about some of the storm clouds over the ag world right now, but where are the opportunities in the ag business world when it comes to the retail side that can really help farmers pull this rope all in the same direction?
So I think it's still fundamentally the same as it was in terms of the retailer finding technologies and practices that are going to help that grower become more efficient and more productive. I mentioned biologicals. That's such a huge new area. And in areas like California, where conventional chemistries are under even more pressure than they are in places like Iowa, biologicals have already come onto the market and replaced some of that. Now, one of the things one of our members told me about that is, I used to spray one product and get maybe 88% control. Now I'm spraying 3 or 4 products and getting 70% control. So it's not perfect. And if you added up all the claims that people make about those products, we ought to be able to grow 800 bushel corn, which isn't going to happen anytime soon. So there's a lot of chaff to be sorted through, but I think that's the crux of it is the retailer is going to be able to help the farmer do that.
And with that entire management strategy for farmers right now, when it comes to tight margins, it all comes back to efficiency and maximizing the use of everything, doesn't it? Making sure that you're just getting that best return on investment?
Absolutely. Not just from an economic standpoint, that's certainly true. You don't want to waste money at having inputs, run off the field or things like that. But environmentally, you want to use your land, your equipment, your labor to the best use that you can, and be a responsible environmental steward. I don't know a single farmer, and I come from a farm family, who doesn't want to pass the land on to their next generation in better condition than what they received it.
And Daren, you were on the main stage here today at the AAI Showcase. Could you tell our Iowa viewers and listeners what you were on stage talking about today? What was your message?
So I was up there with my colleague and good friend, Corey Rosenbusch from the Fertilizer Institute, and we work together on lots of things. We even share office space with them and CropLife America. So we were just answering some questions that Julie Kinney proposed to us from AI. But I think the most important thing that I would ask people to carry away is in the area of complying with the Endangered Species Act on pesticide applications. And specifically, if you're using a product that has those restrictions on it, check the Bulletins Live 2 website now, download what those restrictions are, because you've got a 6-month window then to operate in that even if those rules change on the website, as long as you've got the document in your hand within 6 months of application, you're going to be okay.
So is that important to act on that right now?
I would. I mean, once you get in the spring season, you're not going to have time to do it. So I think I'd be doing it in the next month or so.
Daren, is there anything else you'd like to let our Iowa viewers, our Iowa listeners know about when it comes to anything you're working on with ARA right now, or just the state of the farm world, or any message you'd like to pass along?
Well, we continue to work on things legislatively in Washington. We're working on a seasonal ag CDL bill right now. Johnny Ernst, Senator Ernst, has been very helpful with that from an Iowa perspective. And so there will be opportunities like that as they come along. We have a fly-in where our members come to Washington in early March, March 2, 3, 4, and we'll spend a full day up on Capitol Hill with our team making the appointments. And it's not just a little thing. We've got about 100 people involved in it, and we'll do 130, maybe even 140 congressional visits in one day with ag retail. So they'll know we're in town by the time it's over.
He is Daren Coppock with the Ag Retailers Association. Daren, thanks so much for the time here today. Really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your visit here in the state of Iowa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Daren Coppock, the president and CEO of the Ag Retailers Association, for joining today's episode. It's time now for our closing markets, and I'm joined by Ethan Robson of agmarket.net. Ethan, we started the day with quite a bit of green on the screen in the grain side of the markets. That continued at midday. Is that how we're closing here today?
It is, yeah. I saw some green on the screen for the grains and oilseeds markets today. Good to see here. Soybeans actually made new, fresh, multi-month highs overnight, opened up, got up to the high here around 1141 and a half, closed a little bit below that today, closed at 1136 and a half, but still good to see 12 and a half cents up on the March. Corn market March up about 3 3/4, 430, going over to that May contract, up 5 cents there. 441 and a half. Wheat market's up 11 to 14 cents across the board.
So, Ethan, as you look at it here today, is the soybean complex leading the way and bringing those other commodities with it today?
It is, yeah. So late last week, the President Trump True Social post saying that China was going to buy the extra 8 million metric tons of soybeans. Overnight, we saw some good wordage out of a Chinese news source based in China, China South newspaper, I believe, stating that they are having good conversations with U.S. and President Trump, and that they are looking forward to and already planning President Trump's visit in April. That's what kind of had the soybean market excited today, and then wheat market was able to follow along.
And that makes a lot of sense too, doesn't it? Because for the most part, with this entire story with China buying more soybeans from the United States, even going back to that initial 12 million metric ton number, we never really heard much confirmation from the Chinese side until those purchases just happened. So now that we get at least a little bit of confirmation from the Chinese side that these deals are being heading in the right direction anyway, is that what really drove it here today, getting that confirmation from the other side?
It is, yeah, being able to finally see, okay, Chinese news sources, Chinese people are acknowledging this trade truce, if you call it, and at least having good conversations with that. And then that drove it up. And so we're still waiting to see Scott Bessent and any U.S. Officials talk a little bit more about that. So it's kind of a wait and see moment, but definitely has the market excited right now.
So let's talk about the other side of the markets now. In the livestock sector, there was much price movement action happening there today?
Yeah, a little bit of a different tone in the livestock sector today. Defensive tone there in all the protein sectors. Live cattle April down about 32 cents at 240.65. Feeder cattle April contract down about 97 at 363.625 there. Lean hogs down about, really took it on the chin today, down about $2 in that April contract, 91.825. Really just a defensive day there. Just haven't been able to get anything accomplished. And so just taking a little bit of premium off the table.
He's Ethan Robson of agmarket.net, my guest here today. What's the best way for our viewers to get in touch for more marketing information?
Yeah, visit us online at agmarket.net or give us a call here in Bloomington Normal. We'll be happy to help. 1-800-779-1515.
Ethan, thanks so much for the time here today. Always appreciate it, and have a great rest of your week.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you to Ethan Robson of agmarket.net for joining today's show. Let's take a look at the market numbers, and you can find that information under the markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
March corn closes up 3 3/4 at 431 1/4. March soybeans up 13 1/4 at 1137 1/4. March soybean meal up 4.90 at 307.90. March soybean oil at 57.54, up 49 cents. Chicago wheat up 15 1/4 at 552 1/2. Minneapolis wheat up 7 cents at 576. Kansas City hard red wheat at 554, up 15 1/2. March oats up 4 cents at 309 even. On the Merc, February live cattle up 15 cents at 242.50. March feeder cattle closed down $1.73 at 365.73. April lean hogs down 203 at 91.83. April pork cutout unchanged at 103.40. Class 3 milk down 6 cents at 15.06.
That wraps up the closing markets for today and brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content online at iowaagnet.com. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Riley Smith and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching Ag Matters PM.